I did my Scandinavian tour through a bunch of countries, and ended up and started in Finland and ended up in Norway. The problem with it is like that like the tourism was just out of control there. Like there was just this tiny little port, and they'd have these just massive cruise liners come in and just let thousands of people off in this like tiny little village of like 200 people. It's just a weird dichotomy where I was like, I wanted to like enjoy everything, but I was just stressed out because it was basically just like a ton of just boomer energy just all around me,
Oh man.
like coming off the cruise ship, like people. So just a lot of like zooming in on phones to take pictures,
Did you have
or
anybody taking a photo with an iPad? That's my favorite thing is when people pull out their iPad to take a picture on it.
there were, yeah, that's a good one. There were some selfie sticks,
Ooh.
or like not, not turning off, not muting the camera taking sound effect
Oh,
on your phone. There was a lot of that.
a lot of flashes in
Uh,
the dark.
Yeah, a lot of Candy Crush reverberating off the mountainside. Just felt like, I went there expecting for some good
Sure.
Viking action, and I feel like they sold out. Like I was hoping for, I don't know. I just feel like they didn't. They're not in touch with their roots anymore. I'm like,
Hmm.
look what you guys were doing even 1,000 years ago. But now you go there and it's like everybody's just kind of getting along and they all care for each other and there's lots of parks and great public transportation.
Oh
And I'm like,
god.
dude, what went wrong here? What are you
Dude,
guys doing?
they got soft, man. They got a little bit of success, they got a little bit of money, they got a little bit of agriculture, they became a major trading partner, and then they were
Yeah.
like, we're gonna enact laws, and that's what we're gonna do.
I wanted them to just, treat me like shit or something.
Mm,
At least like,
yeah.
as like a tourist, but it's
That's
like they were
called
they were too kind, dude.
You know what treating you like shit would have been? It's called Viking hospitality, and it's what you pay for when you go to freaking Finland, dude. Talking about Finland, right? That's where you're talking about?
Yeah, I mean, mostly like the biggest Scandinavian area is like Sweden and like Norway are kind of the biggest, and Denmark.
Norway.
That's kind of like where most of the history is.
Did you see any
Um,
trolls?
dude, actually, there were a lot of troll stuff everywhere. Like every shop was selling like troll, like
Hmm.
wood carved stuff, and there was like massive trolls that were just hanging out at like kids' playground areas. So that was pretty awesome.
Well, you know where I can relate with that is that I've never been to Norway, but Epcot Center has a Norway pavilion, and there are just trolls everywhere. Or there used to be. Now it's like Frozen Land. But
Nice.
back in the day, they used to have a Viking ride, and so that's literally my whole experience with Norway.
Well, what I did learn is if you're wondering where exactly it went wrong, I pinpointed where. And if you go back to the last Viking king, his name was Harold Hardrada. He was the one that sold out the Vikings. So basically, like 1,000 AD, the Vikings are still going out plundering, just taking things. And there's this king, I forgot what king it was, but he got together with this priest of the area and they were like, look, the Vikings are a problem. We need to do something about this. So they wrote a letter to the Viking king
Oof.
being like, hey, you need to stop. People are sick of getting plundered and come talk to us if you want to. And then they actually went and showed up and they're like, guys, there's a horde of Vikings out there that are asking for you. I don't know. So they actually met, and then like the priest was like, all right, I know you have your like cool Norse gods, but like we have this other god of Christianity and there's only one, and he's like way more powerful than all your other gods put together. The Viking king was like, whoa, that sounds OP, first of all. But yeah, okay, whatever. I'll believe in your god if you take this smoldering piece of iron and hold it in your hand for like 2 minutes or whatever it was. And so like the priest actually did it. He like took his thing and like legend has it that he actually was able to hold the thing for 2 minutes without like screaming or crying or doing anything. And then the Viking king was just straight up like, okay, I guess he did it, and I guess we're not Vikings anymore. And straight up, he's like, all right, guys, like I guess put down your axes, like we're done. Let's go to church.
dude.
So that was it, dude. And then he carved in this huge stone, like their names and like the fact that that happened. And that's like one of the only like big relics they have, like of the Vikings. Like
Whoa.
it's pretty
So
crazy.
so basically, like, can you imagine how good? I mean, sure, that sucked for that priest, right? And his hand is done. There's no way you're holding that and your hand isn't just completely melded to that iron and you're screwed, right? But
Yeah.
how good did that priest feel that night at the pub, dude? Where
Seriously.
he's just like, "Hey, Bill," and he's like waving with the hand, like with the iron still like soldered into his hand and like wrapped
I
in.
mean, he might have changed the course of history. I mean, like 800 years of like Vikings just ended that day because he was a badass.
So that tells me that monotheism is 100% correct because where would that guy have gotten where would he got the
According to
supernatural power, dude?
according to Harold Hardrada, dude, he was like, "All right, I'm in. I like your god.
Can we
He's
talk
cooler
about
than Odin."
too what a bitch move it was to write them a letter? It's like, "Hey, you guys need to stop right now, and if you want to talk about it, we can, but you need to stop." And then like in a comedic sense, I just imagine that as cinematic. Like he writes the letter, sends it off, and then he steps out onto his front porch and just like he's just met with this horde of freaking Viking ships, dude.
He's like, "Well, we're here. I guess prove yourself." They're like,
See,
"I didn't think that they would actually show up. I thought they would tell us to go to hell."
where was that story at the Epcot Center? I saw a lot of trolls, dude, but I never saw what was his name? Horatio? What was that guy's name? Horatio Horpop?
Yeah. That's pretty close.
Damn.
What was his name? Yeah, let's see. Let's see if I get it right.
Helmut the
Yeah,
Shaner.
Harold Hardrada.
Harold
But there's
so
some other guys. There's
Harold.
like Bluetooth is like one of the most famous Vikings. They had pretty
He's all
cool
hold on,
names.
guys. Hold on. Yeah, go ahead. Dude, is that what a herald thing to do, dude? To be like, stop, guys. Okay, it's getting serious. We need to
Oh no,
stop.
Harold was actually the Viking. I don't know the name of the priest.
Oh,
I forget the name of the
but
priest.
Harold was the one that was like, they need to stop, right? And he got with the priest, or was he like going to the priest, being like, you better shut up, shut up? Where did
I'm not
Harold
sure.
stand
I
in
mean,
this?
no one even knows that this actually happened.
Oh, it
Basically,
happened.
just like I don't know. The priest might have been just crying the whole time, and everyone just tells it differently. I don't really know.
Or he did it for 10 seconds, and he was like, oh,
He's
ha,
like,
oh, oh.
"Ah,
And everybody's
that was
like, you
really
see him? He
hot.
did it for 2 minutes
That was
straight.
pretty good."
It was like a Judd Apatow
Yeah.
movie.
The Viking guy's like, he's not gonna be able to do it. He's gonna
There's
cry
no
like a bitch. Watch, this is gonna be funny.
That's great. That makes me want to move
Yeah.
to
So
Norway.
anyway, that's where they sold out, and then after all that, that was the path to socialism. So, and that's where you ended up. So
I thought you were gonna say like I traced it. They got a Chick-fil-A branch, and ever since then they were just like, no.
they do have a lot of McDonald's, and actually Burger King's over there. I was pretty big over there. I was surprised about that.
They do have Chick-fil-A, but it is built on an ancient rune symbol, so it's kind of still part of the
I
culture,
freaking wish it was. That's what I was expecting.
dude.
But what are you gonna do, man?
I'm gonna stay in America. That's what I'm gonna do.
Anyway, what?
I'm not gonna ask my priest to hold any hot irons. I'm just gonna assume he can do it.
Yeah, I mean, every priest should have to do that. Like, I don't care what the Pope says at all, but if the Pope stood up and held a smoldering iron for 2 minutes without even a reaction, I'd be like, all right, I'm gonna listen to you now.
With absolutely no context. Like if he didn't tell the world anything. He just comes out on his Pope platform, dude, and he's just riding through the square going, ah! Everybody be like, oh my gosh.
Yeah,
We should follow
that's
him.
what we need, dude.
Yeah.
We need a king that's gonna lead by example of being a badass.